Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Steph's World, number 14, Spiritual Foundations, number 14. Now, let's let's clear some things up, okay? When I originally started doing these YouTubes, I did them for spiritual reasons, not religious. Let's get, please, okay? If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm not of any religion, okay? I am of God. Big difference. Okay, now here's the deal. Some of my spiritual beliefs tell me to not get involved in man's political things. I could read them to you, but we're talking about my country. And if you live in the United States, it's your country too. Okay? Now, my dad is an Irish American. I mean, it goes way back. Although my grandmother, when she was 84 years old, she had retired from her job at 84, by the way, taking care of old people. That's what she did. It's something. She also pistol whipped some woman who tried to force her way into her house. How about that? My grandmother had a pistol and she was ready to use it. She believed in her rights. And that's the important thing. And that was passed down to her many generations of grandchildren and great-grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren, and therein. I mean, it just keeps going. She passed away when she was 102 years old, and the reason she passed away had nothing to do with being sick, because she wasn't. Two of her sons had passed away. And one time she told me that if any of her children died before her, she would never want to live. 6 months after two of my uncles passed away, my grandmother passed away too. And we had a true Irish funeral with all the drinking and other crap that goes along with it. Let me tell you. Now, I can't drink, okay? No, 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 no. That's not in Steph's world anymore. My body rejects alcohol, alright? I just cannot do it. But anyway, but the rest of my relatives, oh yeah, they're busy, busy, busy. And I love them. These are my cousins and my aunts and uncles and blah, blah, blah. You know, we're all blood. And in my family, blood was so important. It's, I don't know if I can even stress how important it was, but it was. But the point that I'm trying to get to here is that, well, first of all, I did want to say this. They played Danny Boy at her funeral. That's what she wanted. That was her grandma. And you know, when she was 84 years old, she went to Ireland to find her relatives. We didn't even know there were any relatives still over there. I mean, they were there, but how many generations apart were we, you know? But she seemed to know about them. So anyway, she was an amazing woman. She truly, truly was. And I've written about her. She did some pretty amazing things during the Depression. Let me tell you, anything to take care of her family. And sometimes her family didn't understand why she was doing these things. And maybe some of it was selfish. You know what? She was a human. Welcome to human land. But for the most part, my grandmother loved her children. They were top notch in her world. And she loved her grandchildren with every ounce of her heart. Now, there's another side of me. Yes, it's called Native American. A lot of people, well, no, actually, not too many people, most people believe me when I tell them. I don't have to prove it. I guess it's these. They go up to my socket. I don't know what it is, but my mother was extremely dark-skinned woman. I mean, really dark-skinned. Summer, winter, fall, didn't matter. She was always dark-skinned. And if she got any sun, well, then there was a question of whether or not she was of the African American group. And one time I actually asked her, Mom, I have no problem with it, but are we African American? That's how dark my mother got. You know, that's dark. But anyway, she finally came forward with me, and I had already begun researching because I knew darn well that there was a reason my mother was so darn dark. And there was a reason that she had the nose that she had. And I'm not putting it down, please. It's just, it was very predominant. It had unique parts to it. So I did some research and I found out that there was an extreme possibility that my great grandfather, her grandfather, was full-blooded Shawnee. Okay? My dad is the most prejudiced human being walking the earth. He's always been that way. Life. He's an Irish American. Come on. If you know a true Irish American, tell me, aren't they prejudiced against everybody? He had a name for every type of Asian, Italian. He had names for everybody. Okay? Now, this man marries a Native American. How about that? Okay? But now, she's a beautiful woman, and she was. I have got pictures of her. They aren't very good. I wish they were better. They're black and white. You can't really see that much. My mother had really thick black hair, and I mean thick. And she hated it being so thick. You know, it was just too much to take care of. So most of her life, she went to the beauty parlor and she let them dye it from the black that it normally was to some god awful color and put curl in it because she had straight as straight can be hair. She was a Native American. Okay? Now, the reason I'm focusing on this, there's a good reason for it. And the other day, I got to tell you something funny. I called my dad. I hadn't been feeling well. The last YouTube I did, I was crying and fussing because I had just come home from the neurologist, and there's a possibility I have yet another physical problem. But they're trying to deal with it. And so, you know what? I'm already feeling a little better. Thank God. The prayers are working. Thank you. If you are praying for me, I am so grateful because you know what? The power of prayer works. It sure as heck does. But anyway, the other day I called my dad to kind of give him a update, but I didn't tell him everything because, you know, he's 82 years old and he's got a little bit of dementia. Got to be careful what you say to the old guy. Anyway, at one point in the conversation we were talking about me living in the South, and I told him, you know, Dad, I get along with just about everybody, and he goes, yeah, that's because you're a damn Indian. And see, there you go, you know, his own daughter. You know, but it doesn't bother me. I could care less. All right, that's Dad. He's old, but he loves me. He loves me. He loves all of his children, all six of us, and he loves all of his grandchildren, and especially the grandchild who passed away, our beautiful hero, Matthew Norris Miller, Master Sergeant, Aviation Group in the Army. But anyway, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First of all, don't laugh, okay? I offered to run for president. Why shouldn't I? Why can't I? There's no reason. I'm old enough. I'm smart enough. I know it's the most horrible, stressful job in the whole world. But you know what? I got a lot of spirituality going for me. I really do. And I honestly believe, well, I don't think I'll be elected, of course, but if I were, no, I'm not going to say that. We don't know what's going to happen. We honestly don't. Maybe it won't happen now because I've waited too long, okay? But maybe it will happen in another election. We don't know. Who knows the future, really? And by the way, even if you do see moments in the future, like then, I hate to tell you this, but in my family, some of us do see those moments in the future. We get glimpses. They don't always come true. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, a lot of variables have to do with all this. So you can't necessarily say, yeah, this is going to happen, okay? Because I dreamt it last night. Just can't do that. Or I have this severe feeling that you're really sick. You might not be really sick. It may just be a momentary bad feeling. Maybe it's a spiritual feeling. Who knows? But anyway, the point is that I offered to run for president because, let me tell you why. I will tell you the truth. I will be totally honest with you. I'll tell you everything about me. In fact, I've already begun. If you read some of the stuff I've written, It's properly titled. It says, to my loved ones from a dying mother. Hey, we're all dying, right? So I'm not wrong. But named it that. I could change the name of it, but for right now, I'm just going to leave it like it is. But the point is that if you start reading those, you'll be going, oh my God, is this the same woman? Yes, it is. I've had the toughest life you could ever imagine. I really have. And if you read a little of my background, you're going to find out just how tough it was. No joke. I had a man try to kill me, kept me captive. I was a POW by a man in this country. And there are other women who go through that too, by the way. Now that's something I'm going to discuss a little bit. Here's a little bit of wisdom that I learned over the years. I used to let people have power over me. Yep, they had power. Husbands, boyfriends, whatever. Even friends. Steph, you shouldn't be doing this. Steph, you need to do this. Even though I'm a smart woman and I can think for myself, but I didn't, at that time in my life, I didn't have the spiritual advisors that I got later in life who helped me to understand that I don't need another human being. I mean, everybody needs each other, don't get me wrong, but nobody has a right to have power over anyone. No one. God is the only thing in my life that is above me. And that's how I feel about it. And I'm next after God. Okay? That's how it works. I kind of have an order of importance in my world. God, me, my kids. That's kind of how it goes. Okay? Now, when I was young and dumb, and that's what my dad used to call us, young and dumb. But you know what? He wasn't that far off. I was young and dumb. Um, like I said, I would let these people have power over me, and it never failed. Okay, here's a little rule I would like for if anyone watches this to remember. Okay, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is insanity. Okay? Yeah. It's insanity. Wake up. Put this on a simple level, and from that point, you can look at that. You can see that tree growing. Okay? And much as I don't really want to have to talk about politics right now, I'm going to have to. Here's the tree. Okay? We're climbing this tree because, see, politics is part of our lives. Our government does not have, should not have the power that they have over us. By the way, you do realize the Constitution says we the people. You do realize that, right? Yeah? Okay. Now, I wrote 2 blogs recently, and they're called, and I had to write them down so I'd get them right for you. Do Americans still have a democratic government? That's the first blog. Now, it's kind of a history lesson, but yet, it's very interesting. You'll be shocked about Thomas Jefferson. I invite you, I encourage you to watch it or read it, I should say. It's on Google Drive under Steph Spiritual 20. That's all one word, and that 20 is a number, 20. So Steph Spiritual 20, okay? Just put that in for YouTube and you'll see all my videos, alright? Then the second thing I wrote that was the second part of the blog because it was big. When I do things, I hate to say it, I do them big. Alright? What can I say? It's called The Truth of Our Democracy Today, 2012. And I strongly urge you to read this. Please. What's it gonna hurt? Just tell me what's it gonna hurt. Is it gonna hurt something? I don't think so. Now, it's getting a little late, but I'm gonna read something. I'm sorry. Gonna do it. This is out of one of my spiritual books, okay? Now, let's see. If you had sufficient, by the way, it's Sermon on the Mount. About that. Sermon on the Mount, the key to success in life. Alright? If you had sufficient spiritual understanding of supply, your investments probably would not go wrong. But if they did, your losses would be immediately replaced in some other way and before you had time to suffer from them. Now, I'm going to explain something here. I'm going to interrupt this just for a minute. Here's another little rule to remember. God provides our needs, not our wants. You want $1 million? You can get it, but you're going to have to work for it. I can tell you right now, even the lottery winners, they still had to, there was something that we don't know about spiritually that had to happen, okay? So don't sit there and think, well, what about the lottery winners? No. And a lot of times, those people aren't so happy as you might think, okay? Now, so the important thing to remember here is that God provides everything that we need. The food on our table, the good food on our table, the stuff that we truly need for our body, and a roof over our head. I don't care if it's in a car. It's still a roof. And I know about that because I lived in a car with my little children for about a week. Thank God that's all it was. And moving on. So, if, let us say, the bank in which your fortune was deposited should stop payment on Monday, then probably before the end of the week. an equivalent sum of money, or at least as much as you could possibly need, would come to you from somewhere else. If you had sufficient spiritual understanding. If any, I'm sorry, excuse me. If any case, the owner of a prosperity consciousness cannot be impoverished, nor, for the matter of that, can the owner of a poverty consciousness be permanently enriched. What he is saying here is, is that you cannot be impoverished if you're in the right spiritual mind. You understand? But on the other hand, if you're not in the right spiritual mind, you're going to be impoverished. Got it? Okay. Now, in this next section that I'm going to read, it's italicized. Anytime Emmett Fox italicized a piece of writing, it was extremely important. In the long run, no one can retain what does not belong to him by the right of consciousness, nor be deprived of that which is truly his by the same supreme title. Therefore, you will do well not to lay up to yourself treasures upon earth, but rather to lay up treasure in heaven. That is the understanding of spiritual law. If you are looking to outer passing mutable things for either happiness or security, you are not putting God first. Remember what we said, God first. If you're putting God first in your life, you will not find yourself laboring under undue anxiety about anything. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now I'm going to stop there. And I don't know what's going to happen. I live in today. That's the most I can do is to live in today, right now. Okay? But I know one thing. My son did not die in vain. I raised him to be a patriot, and I am a patriot too. And if I'm being called to service, then I will do it. I promise you that. And I will tell you anything you want to know about me, I'll tell you about me. I am not a perfect person, but I sure have learned a lot in a few short years, believe me. So I love you all, and I'm going to wish you goodbye. Talk to you later. I will be back.